Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a hidden principle, a force that shapes everything from your bank account to, believe it or not, the weather itself. And to really get it, we're going to start with three puzzles that, on the surface, seem to have nothing to do with each other. So, first up, a puzzle that, let's be honest, millions of us have faced. Getting out of debt, right? It feels like you're just digging and digging, but the hole just keeps getting deeper. What if the answer isn't some complex spreadsheet, but something, well, a lot more human? Okay, now let's zoom way, way out. You heard of the butterfly effect, right? The idea that a butterfly's wings could cause a hurricane. It sounds like something straight out of a movie. But is it just a cool idea, or is there some real, deep truth there about how our world is actually put together? And for our last puzzle, let's look at a pattern you see everywhere. The successful just seem to get, well, more successful. Is that just dumb luck? Or is there some invisible force at work? Some kind of momentum that turns a small head start into an unstoppable lead? Let's dive in and start connecting these dots. So, our first big clue is hiding in plain sight in the world of personal finance. It's a strategy that honestly kind of seems to fly in the face of pure math, but for some reason, it just works. It's called the debt snowball method, and the idea is actually pretty simple. You basically just ignore the interest rates for a bit. Instead, you focus all your extra cash, all your energy, on just one thing: destroying your smallest debt. Get it gone. And then, once it's paid off, you take every dollar you are putting towards that debt and you roll it, like a snowball picking up more snow, right onto the next smallest. Okay, check this out. Say you've got 4 debts. You find an extra $100 a month and you throw it all at the smallest one. Boom. In just 2 months, it's totally gone. Now, here's the magic. You take that whole payment and roll it over to the next card. That one's gone in just 3 more months. You see what's happening? By the time you get to that big, scary loan, you're not just chipping away at it anymore, you're hitting it with a giant payment every month. You've built a real financial snowball. Now, you might be thinking, hold on, wouldn't it be smarter to pay off the debt with the highest interest rate first? And yeah, mathematically, you'd be right. That's called the avalanche method, and it does save you more on interest. But here's the fascinating part. Studies from places like Kellogg and Harvard Business Review found that the snowball method is often more effective. Why? Because getting out of debt isn't just a math problem. It's a human problem. It's about motivation. And those quick, early wins, they give you this jolt of positive feedback that makes you want to keep going. And that really gets to the heart of it. As Dave Ramsey, a big fan of this method, says, personal finance is like 80% behavior. That feeling you get from completely wiping out a debt, even a small one, is so powerful. And that's our first clue right there. Small wins create momentum. All right, so let's grab that idea, a small start leading to a big finish, and take it to our second clue. We're going to scale up now, from a credit card bill to, well, the entire planet. You know, this old proverb absolutely nails the concept. A tiny, tiny thing that's easy to overlook, a single horseshoe nail, kicks off a chain reaction that ends with a whole kingdom falling apart. Each little failure just cascades into a bigger one. Now, this isn't just a folktale. It's really the core of the butterfly effect. And the butterfly effect isn't just some movie trope. It's a metaphor for a very real scientific idea called chaotic systems. And in these systems, like our planet's weather, the tiniest, almost unmeasurable differences at the start can lead to completely different outcomes down the road. And look at that. There's our snowball metaphor again. A butterfly's wings don't literally create a hurricane, of course, but in a complex, chaotic system, that little flutter, that tiny change in air pressure, could be the one tiny nudge that sends the entire weather system down a completely different track. It's just another perfect example of a tiny start gathering power and creating a massive result. Okay, so we've got 2 clues. We know small wins create psychological momentum, and we know small physical changes can create literal avalanches. Our third and final clue brings this whole idea back to us, to people, and it helps explain a pattern that can be, well, both amazing and a little bit frustrating. This thing has a name. It's called the Matthew Effect. A sociologist named Robert K. Merton came up with it, and he named it after a line in the Bible. He first used it to describe how famous scientists got way more credit for their work than unknown scientists, even when the discoveries were pretty similar. It's basically the academic term for the rich get richer. This is a fantastic way to see how it works. So imagine 3 companies. One starts just a little bit bigger than the others. Now, if their growth is proportional to their current size, that tiny little head start doesn't just add up over time, it compounds, it multiplies. Before you know it, what started as a small lead becomes a massive, unbeatable gap. And we're not just talking about money here. You see the Matthew effect absolutely everywhere. The scientific papers that get cited the most, they tend to get cited even more. Popular people on social media, they gain new followers way faster. Big cities just keep attracting more people. It's like this fundamental law of how things get organized in our world. So let's take a breath. We've looked at a psychological trick for your finances, the wild physics of weather, and a sociological pattern about success. Three really different stories. And I know it might seem like we've been jumping all over the map, but these aren't separate things. They are all just different faces of one single, incredibly powerful, universal idea. It's time to finally connect all the dots. The proper scientific name for this universal snowball effect is cumulative advantage. And the idea at its core is so simple. Whatever has an edge is more likely to get the next edge. In network science, you'll also hear it called preferential attachment. And here's how that plays out. Think about it. In any network, a new person or a new website is probably going to connect to one that's already popular, right? So a popular website gets more links, which makes it even more visible and popular. A paper that gets cited a lot is seen by more people, which leads to even more citations. And paying off one debt frees up cash, making it easier to pay off the next one. It's all the same invisible law at work. Okay, this is the most important part because, understanding this principle is one thing, but making it actually work for you, that's the real game changer. So how can we take this incredible force and harness it? The best news about cumulative advantage is that it's not some abstract thing that just happens to us. It's a process. And since it's a process, that means you can be the one to kick it off. So how do you do it? First, start your own snowball. Focus on small, consistent wins that build momentum, just like with the debt. Second, look for ways to create positive feedback loops in your habits and skills. The better you get at something, the more you enjoy it, the more you practice. Third, and this one is so important, learn to spot and stop the negative snowballs, like bad habits, before they get too big to stop. And finally, give your good projects a deliberate push at the beginning, because that little bit of initial success is what's going to attract all the future success. So in the end, the world isn't nearly as random as we think it is. It runs on principles, and this snowball effect is one of the most powerful ones out there. Understanding it gives you power. It means the biggest changes in your life don't have to start with some massive, heroic leap. They can start with one small, deliberate push. So, the only real question left is, what snowball are you going to start rolling today?